Welcome back to the channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Rita. I hope you all are doing well. I hope you are having a fantastic start to your week. So today we're going to be talking about something that is it's very sad, something coming out of California. But first, guys, remember when they told us this last year?
We'll convert your children, yes we will. Reaching one and all, there's really no escaping it. Cause even grandma likes RuPaul. We're coming for them. We're coming for your children.
Yeah, so turns out when groups of people, activist types, say that they are going to do something or that they are planning something, we should believe them. So a California mom, according to Epoch Times, blames LGBT coaching for brainwashed teen suicide. So a grieving California mom, the article goes on to say, says her severely depressed teen daughter was encouraged to leave her family, go into foster care, and begin taking cross-sex hormones, after which she developed unbearable pain and killed herself by lying down across the tracks in front of a train. Abigail Martinez, 53, alleged that school staff at Arcadia High School, without her knowledge or consent, encouraged her daughter, Yaeli, to join an LGBT club that met at the school during lunchtime.
Thank you, everyone, for inviting me to tell my story. Like Jay said, I have 4 children. One, my story is related with hers. That's why I'm sorry, but it breaks my heart to hear, what's going on and what the school district, the DCFS, LGBT is capable to do behind our back.
A sad, terrible, terrible, terrible story indeed. So according to this article and other articles that I've read about this, this child was bullied in junior high. She was bullied a lot. Of course, her mom tried to encourage her and let her know that the girls were just jealous, but she was bullied. And so she fell into depression. By the time she got to, and her mom says she's always been a girly girl. She's always liked boys. So after being bullied, though, she fell into depression. And in high school, all of a sudden, she started to question her sexuality. Well, turns out, and these predators, and I don't just mean the other students, but they, a lot of them are too. Unfortunately, these predators know when children are vulnerable. Predators can smell vulnerability. So these predators at the high school, when she got to high school, staff and everything, instead of trying to address or call her mom to let her know that they, the teachers or staff or whatever, to contact her mom to let her know, hey, your child seems distant or disengaged or depressed, they proceeded to try to get her to go to all these different clubs. Now, apparently, a thing that is happening in California and Salinas County specifically, an article came out where there were 2 teachers discussing with other teachers on a call how to covertly introduce LGBTQI doctrines or whatever they teach about it into clubs in school. So how they're doing this is they're creating new clubs like Equity and whatever other, that's a very assuming name in my opinion. It's going to send off all sorts of red flags. But these teachers were talking about how to covertly introduce these things into conservative districts. So all of the school clubs that, like the chess club and all these different clubs that a lot of schools have, they are trying to create new clubs to indoctrinate children. Now, according to this poor woman, Abigail Martinez, her daughter started in high school, started questioning her sexuality, and the staff and everybody were completely on board. Obviously, nobody told her. She actually did go to the school to talk to them about some failing grades. And nobody explained to her that her daughter was a part of this club, and they all knew. They were all keeping this from the parents. According to the school, they make it safe for children, move my mic back, keep hitting it, away from parents. They want to keep the children safe from parents, is what they told her. So this is so enraging. It's so enraging. So this poor girl did not get the treatment she needed. Instead was met another student, an older student, who was already taking hormones to transition from a girl to a boy. Not that you can actually do that, but since we're talking about that, so she can attempt to transition from a boy to a girl. This girl invited her to this LGBTQI whatever club. The way the mom found out about it was because one of the older kids told the mom that she had seen her hanging out with this person and that she was, had been going to this club. So finally, her daughter just kind of came on out and told Abigail, hey, I want to be called by a different name. I'm a boy and I want to be called a boy's name. Andrew. That's what I want to be called. And her mom said, no, not going to happen. And so her mom was obviously extremely concerned. Well, the school, along with the girl Yaeli's new friend who was transitioning, and her mom, they're called glitter moms. Apparently there are these moms groups, or these glitter moms they're called, who are basically have children who are transitioning or whatever, or who are trans children, whatever the case may be, allied, whatever, who will basically act as a surrogate to you. If your child, let's say your child were to express to her friends that she's coming out with or whatever, and these friends' moms happens to be, whatever, pro this whole thing, pro trans, whatever, these moms will step in on your behalf and go to meetings or help your child do things behind your back. I mean, clearly, these are people who have no fear, Lord forgive me, of getting their teeth knocked out, messing with people's children. It is our duty as parents, when you have young children, minors, to when you find out stuff like this is happening, like, it is our job. It is unjust for us not to speak out about this kind of stuff. Anyway, so the mom of the transitioning friend was communicating with staff, basically telling them that Yaeli's mom was not on board with her transitioning. And the staff and everybody knew about this. Unfortunately, Yaeli was still battling depression and tried to commit suicide. Once that happened, the social workers came to her house, started coming to her house. When she was at the hospital with Yaeli through another suicide attempt, the social worker came to the hospital and told Abigail Martinez that she should have a funeral for her daughter and just say hello and celebrate her new son, the social worker in LA County. Not to mention the principal, the former principal of Yaeli's school, yelled at Abigail Martinez and told her, what's the big deal? Why can't you just call her by her new name? What's the problem? If you don't think that there is if you don't think that there is a conspiracy to snatch your children from you, you are sadly mistaken. this story ends, this very real story in California, out of California, ends with this young girl, Yaeli, who never got the help she wanted, ending up in a foster home. DCFS took her mother to court, basically on the claim that it was a toxic environment. It was not trans friendly, removed her from the home, not to mention this girl's newfound friend and her glitter mother told Yaeli that if she really wanted to transition, she should, and taught her, basically showed her how to get taken from her home from DCFS, be put in a group home where they have these RISE type organizations, these organizations that are LGBTQI trans affirming, whatever. I know the trans is in the acronym, but and they have them come in to further indoctrinate the young children in these homes, not give them any sort of counseling about depression, but to basically further counsel them into transgenderism and how to accept their feeling like they are of a different sex. So basically accepting their mental illnesses, not really giving them proper help. So DCFS took this girl out of her family's home, put her in the youth home. The girl ended up committing suicide because she did not get the help that she needed, with the help of friends in school and staff, allegedly. So for people who think that all the school board meetings where parents are showing up and showing out, if they think that they are being overly emotional, if they think, which I don't see how anybody could say that over your child, if they think that they are just, listening to conspiracies, but nothing is going on. Well, this is going on. And this woman is suing LA County School District. Not only that, but there are other school districts in California, and I'm sure in other places, it is, who are complaining about these programs being implemented. Okay, about all of these programs being implemented in schools. Now, here's what I want to say. Just like the feminist movement, okay, the feminist movement used to be, while I am not a feminist, but it used to be an acknowledgement of femininity, an acknowledgement that men and women are different, but equal. We deserve equal rights, but we are different. Men are men, women are women. But of course, today, no such thing. The feminists who still believe that have been largely isolated and shamed to be replaced by this new movement that says men can be women too. So everything is being turned on its head. The LGBTQIA, that whole thing, is a movement. That's what we need to, I think, understand. It is a movement. Okay, that whole acronym, there's not just gay people in there. There are straight people in that acronym too. Allies, people who are allied with this movement. What we need to understand is this is not even it is about sexuality, because that is simply the vehicle or the tool that is being used to kidnap the minds of people, specifically young children. That is the vehicle that is being used. But make no mistake, this movement is not about somebody being gay. That's not what it's about. Okay? It is about an entire mindset. It is about an entire theology. I mean, well, not theology, but it is about an entire set of, it's a religion, like I've always said. So it is about an entire shift change in how we view sex, how we view what is right and wrong, how we view society, how we view the economy, how we view everything. It is coming through the schools, and it is attacking young, impressionable minds. Sadly, schools are not just promoting this stuff, they are encouraging it. They are full on trying to indoctrinate. You have seen the TikToks. I'm sure you have seen the TikToks of all the teachers talking about and celebrating how they are coming out to their students, and they have all the flags. These people have the social justice flag. They have the Black Lives Matter fist.
I'm a fourth grade teacher, and I do a lot of work with social justice and equity in my classroom. We have racialized conversations.
It was National Coming Out Day yesterday. If we were here in person, I would have done this yesterday. My name's Miss Watsy. I'm here. Yeah.
I'm so proud of you.
So I'm at work, and those of you who don't know me, I use they, them pronouns, and I'm a preschool teacher. So instead of using Mr. or Miss, we use mix. So the kids have been really awesome doing that. I work with 3 and 4 year olds.
I use they, them pronouns in English and in Espanol, and I got a lot of questions like this. So how do I bring this up to my teacher? How do you talk to colleagues about it? How do people respond to you? So where I work, everybody was really receptive. They wanted to learn more about it. It's been a slow process, but they're learning more and they're integrating it. And this is across languages, so I feel super lucky. However, I know that's not the case for a lot of people. All I can say is that try to talk to your teacher about it and explain to them that this is what non-binary people are doing in the language, and that by not including language like this in the classroom, it's making people who are non-binary or maybe are non-binary and they don't know feel unsafe, and that it's actually transphobic, and that they're excluding people's identity in the classroom and making them not feel safe when using that language.
By and large, there are surveys that have been done or studies that have been done. These people typically gravitate toward the same beliefs. And so this belief is not about sex. It is about a revolution. And that's what I've always said, and I stick to that. They are attacking our children. You can continue to send your kids to public school, and I understand that people have to do what you have to do. But you better make sure that you are explaining fully to your children why these things are wrong, that they are, in fact, on the outskirts of society. You have to let them know, yes, we are the minority in our mindset in society. People keep saying, oh, but there's a silent majority, we're the majority. No, we're not. This Western civilization is fully sold to all of these ideologies, to these doctrines of demons. They're fully sold to it. So you need to explain to your children, this is a thing, it is happening, and you better have a good solid foundation as to why these things are wrong, because that's what this is. This is a battle against right and wrong. Okay? These children who are going through depression, like poor Yaeli, her family, she did not get the treatment that she needed. Of course, you all know conversion therapy is outlawed in California. Well, what's conversion therapy? For those of you who don't know, if let's say your child or you go to a doctor and say, hey, I have these same sex attraction feelings, or I know I was born a female, but I feel like a male. If you are a therapist and in your therapy, you start to focus on depression, and you recognize it as gender dysphoria, you can lose your license and possibly serve jail time, I think, or pay some kind of astronomical fine in California. This is the same in Canada. Same thing has happened. Somebody comes to you and wants help and say they're depressed because they feel like a girl or a boy or whatever. And you try to counsel them out of that into a healthy mental state, you will go to jail. So while people sit around and talk about all this stuff being conspiracy theory, while they're sitting there thinking that things like this are happening, they're happening in the public schools and probably some private schools too. I would not be surprised. And they're hiding this from the parents. That's the thing. They are telling children to keep it a secret. The schools are keeping it a secret. You've seen the TikTok videos of all of these teachers talking about having a safe space for my children to come out if they want to, having a safe space where we don't tell parents, and they won't tell parents if your child is having whatever, having mental problems, having get caught doing drugs, have abortions. Like, they are trying to steal your kids from you. They're trying to steal their minds, bodies, everything. They are trying to steal your kids from you into their cult, because that's exactly what this whole movement is. It's one big cult. Okay? It's one big cult. It's the religion of sexual identity. And their God is the god of sex. That's your god, right? It's full on idolatry. The only way that you can be saved by this god is if you changed your gender identity. And for those who believe that in XX and XY chromosomes determine your gender or your sex, I should say, for those who believe that, you are an apostate, an infidel, and you deserve who knows what. Who knows how far this would go. I would venture to say some of them probably feel that we deserve death for being an infidel, an apostate to their movement. This is how serious it is. It'd be different if you had children who were undergoing these things, having these feelings, going through depression, gender dysphoria, and you could actually, like back in the day, go to a doctor or something and they can, counsel the underlying issue, which is a mental problem. It's an underlying issue that could be treated, but they don't want to treat it. They want your child to be mentally unstable like they are. So, the Bible tells us that Satan comes to kill, steal, and destroy, and he has no mercy on your children. He wants to start with your children, and like they said in that men's choir, they're coming for your children, and you won't even notice it until it's too late. What should we do about this? Okay, I think people that are going to these school board meetings continue to do this. Continue to let them know that we see what's happening. And more importantly, we cannot be afraid to address these teachers and these principals no matter what. Your children's lives are at stake. The children's lives are at stake. So when we talk about justice, they have no problem talking about justice for criminals, justice for this and justice for that, which we all know it's not real justice. But real justice is standing up for the orphan, the vulnerable, the children, from culprits who are conspiring, like Disney and other places, who are conspiring to pervert and corrupt our children from the inside out. I guess the question we have to ask ourselves is, how far are we willing to go? What are we willing to really sacrifice? This is something we need to be thinking about. This is something we need to start wrapping our heads around and wrapping our minds around, because these people aren't here to play with us. They're not here to play with your children. They're here to steal your children from you. I know people personally who this has have happened to, whose children have gone to college and return home after, a couple semesters dressed in full drag. These people are trying to steal your children. Children go through, and you go through so many changes as a preteen and as a teen, and you don't know, you're unsure of yourself. And they use this to warp the minds and to basically destroy these children, destroy their morale, destroy who they are, mutilate them. My goodness. If we don't stand for anything else, if we don't stand against anything else that is going on right now, I mean, this should be the thing right here. This is the thing. This is the wickedness that is happening right under our noses. They're hoping that we won't do anything about it. They're hoping that we'll sit back and let it happen. I hope that we continue to keep this at the forefront of our minds. If you are parents of children in school, school-age children, I hope and pray that you are getting involved. You cannot be too busy. It is real. It is happening. They are telling your children to keep it a secret. They told this woman's child to keep things a secret. These schools think that your kids are their kids. Okay? They are keeping this stuff a secret. So just real quick, in my old job, I had a coworker whose daughter wanted to go to the school dance. Okay. And fine, they're all fine with it. And her husband was planning on chaperoning. Well, the school had the audacity to say no parents allowed. The gall. That's a thing now. If you don't have school-age children, just so you know, this is a thing. And she wasn't even in high school yet. I'm pretty sure. I think she was in like 8th grade or something. There are no parents allowed because we don't want the kids to feel uncomfortable with parents standing around. She was flabbergasted, of course, and she's from a different country. This is like unheard of in her culture. Like, what are you even talking about? Like, this was unheard of. They let her go anyway, but Jay may as well have been there because they text her like 90,000 times to make sure. FaceTime, the whole bit, to see what was going on. But the school literally did not want to let them in. Why? Because kids are going to be in there doing things they have no business doing, and the teachers are going to be perfectly fine being complicit in that. This is the time we're living in. This is what we need to wrap our heads around. I feel like you should be prepared. Be prepared to get arrested. Be prepared to say, nope, I am going. It's my child. I am coming inside. Whatever you need to do. I know that's tough. Well, we need to pray and ask God for the strength to go through with these things, because it's come down to the wire. And yeah, I'm going on a rant because I'm really ticked off about this. This is happening in California. It's happening in Canada. You know, it's happening in other states. I haven't dug into it yet, but I'll bet I can find stories similar to this going on in other states right now. And conservatives, you are not out of the woods. As I said earlier, there are teachers who are talking about on Zoom calls, discussing how to covertly introduce their doctrines into conservative districts. We cannot be afraid to show up. We cannot be afraid to talk about it. We cannot be afraid of what our neighbors are going to say. We cannot be afraid of looking crazy. We cannot be afraid of getting locked up, because this is justice. This is biblical justice. All that crap justice stuff they're talking about in society, that's not justice. Justice is when you try to abuse vulnerable children. I am going to show up and I am going to get in your face. And I'm not condoning violence, but I am saying we have to defend our children. That's what I'm saying. This terrible, terrible story. Pray for this woman, Abigail Martinez in California. Pray that this lawsuit goes through well. She is suing, like I said, LA County for her daughter's death, because obviously they brainwashed her. They pushed her into this, did not give her the help that she needed, removed her from the home, which resulted in her sadly committing suicide. Terrible story. So be thinking about, if this is you, what you are prepared to do if you have school-age children. That's all I'm saying. These are things that take us by surprise, because especially in the West, I think we can't wrap our minds around the idea that the states would be actively pushing for these things. But we have seen all of the school board meetings. We know that this is happening. We don't want to wait until it gets to a point where we are seeing subtle things in our children, where we are trying to give them their space and all. You cannot do that. They live in your house. They don't get to get their own private whatever. They can get their own private whatever when they get a job and they get out. But as long as they're in your house, you have got to know what's going on with your children. And you have got to teach them all of this stuff is wrong. You don't even have room to be moderate in this situation. You have to be extreme and tell them why these things are unhealthy, why they are unsustainable, why they are wicked, why it would, and how it can destroy them. We have to be blunt, and we have to teach our children. And we have to be fearless in this situation. Let me know what you guys think about this. Obviously, it's a terrible, terrible story. But let me know, is this something that you've thought about? Have you been planning? Like, what do we do when these things happen? If these things happen? It's difficult, but it's happening. It's happening. So I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your week. And until next time, ciao.